All right, let's switch gears back to men's basketball as they struggle to score the basketball yesterday in Alabama. With that, we bring in our very own basketball insider, Kevin McPherson. Kevin, Alabama brought a defense last night that I don't think the Hogs have seen all year long. That's a box-and-one defense, and it kind of disrupted the Arkansas's offense for the rest of the game.
Yeah, but you know what? I think Arkansas, when you go on the road and you shoot 7 more free throws than your opponent, you're +6 on the glass, which, by the way, was +10 in offensive rebounds, and you're +8 in turnovers, you got to figure you got a chance to win that game, and Arkansas did. No matter how often Arkansas shot itself in the foot, J.D. Notae sitting out over 16 minutes in that first half in foul trouble. And we didn't talk about Stanley Umide as much with those 19 points, but he sat out basically half of the first half in foul trouble and fouled out with 3 minutes left in the game, and Arkansas was still in a position to win. And so give Alabama's defense credit, to your point, CJ, on some level. But I thought Arkansas just missed some shots around the basket that it normally makes. And I think maybe Bama deserves some credit for that, but I think Arkansas was just a bit off in those little things. And so, all those advantages on the glass and in forcing turnovers, it didn't equate to enough points. Alabama was actually +6 in points off turnovers, even though they had 8 more turnovers. Arkansas was only +2 in second chance points after being +10 on that offensive glass. So I think when you look back at this game, it's not a situation where Arkansas wasn't the better team necessarily, but sometimes the better team doesn't win. Arkansas, with everything that was going wrong with guys in foul trouble, a controversial call under 2 minutes that went Bama's way that would have given Arkansas possession of the ball with a 1-point lead after it had finally gotten over the hump there. A lot of things could have gone in Arkansas's way that did, and I think you just chalk it up to, look, we just had a 9-game winning streak, big win against number 1 Auburn in the midweek. If you were looking at that week ahead of time and said if Arkansas splits those games with Bama and Auburn, if you're being honest, you probably take that. Eric Musselman doesn't look at things that way. I'm sure the team doesn't when you're won 8 in a row coming into the week. But still in all, it was a successful week, and Arkansas, even though they lost that game, I thought showed resiliency based on some of the things that weren't going right to give themselves – they were double digits down in both halves, gave themselves a chance to win. So I thought Arkansas answered the bell even though they didn't come home with a win.
Well, let's talk about, Kevin, on this team being a better team than the last game they played against, and that's against Auburn, when they played home in a record-breaking crowd, when they scored the ball at a high clip and played some defense and took care of the basketball. Talk about that Auburn game and taking down the number 1 team in the country. How was that atmosphere when you were there?
It was. You hear the word insane, crazy. I've been to both times that Arkansas has beaten number 1, only twice in school history, 1984 in Pine Bluff against Michael Jordan, North Carolina. And this game was certainly up there. Maybe not as significant, but it's close. And the atmosphere was unbelievable. I think it's a big reason why Auburn was 0 of 7 at the free throw line from the 10-minute mark of the second half all the way through overtime. And I feel like the energy from that crowd in a game where Arkansas was out rebounded by 18, they did better on the glass in the second half. They won that turnover battle. They won the transition battle. And you're talking about an Auburn team that won 19 games in a row. They hadn't lost since November. This is the number 1 team in the country. There's no fluff there. They earned that. And I think Arkansas just kept chopping away. Auburn was stubborn. Arkansas was more stubborn, and they got that big win on their home court, one of the best victories that will go down in history for the Razorbacks. But I think it was, again, the week is a success. You got a split in those games. You'd love to go 2-0, but I thought Arkansas, Auburn, what a great season that team's having. Arkansas was the better team on Tuesday night. It was the first loss for Auburn, like I said, in 19. They'd won 19 in a row.
Yeah, Kessler, the real deal for Auburn. Had a triple-double last night with blocks, blocks, points, and rebounds. But last but not least, 2023 big man. I heard we offered a big man an offer.
Brandon Garrison, a 6'9" center out of Dale City, Oklahoma, a top 50 player nationally in that 2023 class. He took an unofficial visit to Arkansas back in December for the Arkansas game against the Little Rock Trojans. He told me at the time he thought he would get an offer eventually, and that's sure enough. Right after Arkansas beat Auburn on Tuesday, on Wednesday, he announced that he got that offer. I know he's excited about that and plans to get back on campus.
Thanks, Kevin, for stopping by. We're going to get to you next week. Man, I appreciate you.